synced. So this is what it will be, a simple conversation to the camera in the microphone, giving some of my thoughts. So recently I've been thinking and researching the ideas of AI and what it means to artists and writers and any kind of makers and producers of things and well, all kind of career paths and technologies and um, everything in the world, really, let's be honest about it. So that's why I'm trying to have this simple um, me speaking to the camera, unfiltered, unedited, because I want to remove that potential of me using AI to create these videos. I'm very new to YouTube and I don't want to rely on these processes and these technologies to produce these videos to me. Because I do want to give my pure unfiltered thoughts. I know I've said unfiltered a few times, but yeah, it's unadulterated. There's nothing in the middle of this that is not mine and has not come from me. So today I'm going to talk about the essences of writing, what writing is, what it means to humans, why humans do it, what it means to the world and humanity in general, and how AI will affect this um, from now till time immemorial. So we are humans, and one of the things that we have above, I don't want to say above, but one of the things that humanity has, humans have, that a lot of other species of creatures and animals don't have, is the ability to speak, the ability to communicate. There are lots of ideas of where communication came from. Um, Lots of different theories about why we speak, how we speak, and the reasons that we speak. So, and a very simple explanation is human beings wanted to tell each other and inform each other about certain dangers, certain areas of bounty. So if there was a pool or a body of water that was really deep, perhaps we needed to tell people, water deep, don't go. Perhaps we needed to say, tree full of fruit, tree fruit, go now today. Perhaps we needed to inform people about time. So, um, when the sun is rising in the morning, that's when to do it. When the sun is setting, that's when to go and fish, for example. I don't know if that's true, just making an example. But yeah, so there's also another theory that there are many, many theories, right? But one of the theories that what humans have, that other animals and other people, other species that communicate don't have is the idea of displacement. And displacement is able to is the ability to take information from the past and give it to the future. For example, I can tell the story of my grandmother's passing to my niece. How am I able to do that? I'm able to gather the information that I've had there in the words that I've had them. So I can talk about my grandma's age, her hair color, her stature, what she was wearing, her hair length, where she was born, where she grew up. I can talk about all of these and give this information to future generations, my niece in this example. And yeah, that's what humans can do. So we not only can displace stories, we can displace facts, we can displace um, general ideas. So we're able to communicate these, and things like this start become common knowledge. Anyway, before I lose track of thought, that is one of the abilities of speaking. And so then now we come to the idea of writing. So there are multiple theories, and there are always new discoveries and new forms of new there are always new discoveries happening. And so one of the earliest forms of writing was like symbolized words that were spoken that were symbolized in probably something like a hieroglyphic, which is probably the easiest example to talk about. So yeah, the ancient Egyptians had ideas, had stories, and they noted them down in hieroglyphics. In the modern world, as English speakers, we use a phonetic alphabet, so we've broken the word down into sounds, and putting these sounds together says a certain word, right? It speaks a certain word, and we have letters that represent the sound or groups of letters that represent the sound. We put them together and we're able to read the sound of the word, and by reading the sound of the word, we can take the meaning. Okay, very generic, probably not correct interpretation of what speaking, what communication, and what writing is. But okay, let's take it really. I am a writer. I have been writing for the majority of my life. For most of my life, I have been picking up a pen and writing my thoughts down. And I've written all sorts of things in this time: journal entries, poetry, stories, articles, essays, movie scripts, film scripts that have never come to light. I've written a theatre play. I've edited for other people. So I really have a good experience or good understanding of the world of writing. And for me, writing is what humans do when they want to really focus and communicate something that perhaps is not easy to communicate in speech, because speech is very inconsistent and we're always just trying to get it out there. But it does make me wonder as well, separate note, what is the thing inside us that allows us to speak coherently, fully, without even really having a complete sentence, and to still be able to speak so somebody can understand with the correct grammar, with the correct usages, correct words, correct time frames, all of these things. I always wonder how the ability of our speech became so advanced. As we talked about earlier, them the early humans who were communicating, tree, full, water, deep. And now I'm able to give you this whole YouTube video in a language that you can understand too. Okay, so I've written in all of these formats, and one thing that I want to say is that I've realized that writing is a very difficult task for a human, and especially if you want to write correctly, clearly, with clarity, with emotion, saying exactly what it is that we need to say. So, because I have been writing for so long, writing does come easier to me. However, when I want to write something for a reason, or I want to have more precision in my writing, it takes a lot of time and effort. And so, personally, I write because I'm trying to resolve something in my life, whether that's a thought that I haven't completed, whether that's some pain or trauma in my past that I'm trying to translate into a text now, or whether that is anything else, something I'm trying to represent in the world, which I perhaps don't think is represented enough in language. And so, yes, that's what writers do. That's what I do as a writer. I translate my pain, my trauma, my life into words so other people can understand it too. And I find writing a very cathartic process, a very beneficial process. It's a very enlightening process. Actually, writing through the last 12, 15, 20 years has really helped me become the person that I am. I'm able to think very clearly, I'm able to communicate my ideas really clearly, and I'm able to teach other people these ideas at the same time. Oh, that's a lot, right? And I haven't even got into the essence of the conversation, which is what why do humans write? Well, I've got to a little bit of that. I'm writing to resolve my trauma. Now, okay, I've said all of these things now. Now I'm going to bring AI back into it. What does AI mean to writers? Well, in my opinion, AI is a much better writer than I am. It is a much better writer. It can produce better work at a much faster rate, and it can produce work on fields and topics that I have zero idea about. And it can combine these ideas. It can pull out academic essays, journals, poems, stories, full movie scripts. And remember, we're in the very early stages of AI at the moment. So in 50 years' time, or sorry, even in 5 years' time, the amount that AI will be able to produce will probably be feature-length movies that have cultural significance and impact. So there are two different things that I'm going to talk about here. A lot of people say that what AI creates is not an art. It's not art, but what is it? Because art is of solely a human endeavor. But I have this idea, right, that all art is artificial. It's not something real. It's something that humans have taken and reformed in the world and created something else. So we take materials from the world, and we reshape them, reform them, break them, paint them, and put them on display in a different format. And for me, this is art. And the same with writing, I'm taking my experiences, my ideas, and translating them into words, into a piece of writing. However, AI is able to do that as well. So if AI can do that, then that shows that art is not only something that humans can do, but it shows that other things are able to do it as well. So just like human beings used paintbrushes to paint their artworks, just like human beings use rulers and measurements, and they used camera obscurers. They use photography equipment, camera equipment, microphone. All of these are technologies that have helped us and helped humans create newer forms of art in newer ways. So I was speaking to a friend recently, and I said that, and he says to me that cinema is the greatest art form. And I kind of had a back and forth with him. And I said, well, cinema being 100 years old or thereabouts, 125 years old, when the technology for cinema first came out and people were able to record films and performances and put music to them and have all of these ideas. Yes, yes, yeah. It's too late now. Go on. I lost my train of thought. So I was speaking to a friend, and he said that cinematography is the greatest art form. And I asked him why he thought that, and he said that it's an art form that is able to combine all of these aspects, whether that's imagery, moving imagery, sound, video, um, music, all of these things to create something. However, I went on a bit of a back and forth with him. Paintings are generally made from one person who has a vision, who wants to put something on a canvas and show something, and that static image that that painter produces can sometimes have a as big as an impact as film, if not more. Let's take, for example, Guernica. This is like a very film like, by Pablo Picasso. This is a very film-like piece of art, and also a book. Reading something like, I'm gonna take a book that's been translated into film, which is Cloud Atlas. One person wrote this whole book, and they didn't have anything else to rely on apart from the written word. No music, no background, no acting, just the words that a person can read, that can have all of these images. And that book is what made that movie. So that book also has a lot of power and meaning in it. So for me, a book is a really great form of art as well. So we went back and forth, and I said something to him. I said, when the technology for filmography first came out, cinematography, like the microphones, the cameras, the stages, and all of these things, the makeups, and when people first saw this, perhaps they didn't accept it as an artistic practice. Perhaps they thought it was some kind of corrupt form of art. Painters had been painting for millennia, and this new technology came where you can just click a button and you see the images. So perhaps that was kind of a cheat for them, and they didn't think that it was real art. However, 100 years later, everybody accepts films as art, and I agree that they are art. They're a form of art. And so just in that same way that paintbrushes affected how we create art, just how galleries affected how we view art, just how uh, cameras affected how we produce art. I think that AI is a new form of technology. As simple as that, is something that humans will use to create art. Because at the end of the day, AI can probably create the art, but who is the art for? It's not for the AI itself. It's not having an emotional depth or understanding of the art. Actually, the humans have that emotional depth and understanding. So that might have been a really complicated thing. All I'm trying to say is that, in my opinion, AI will just be a tool in the next 5 or 10 years that humans are using to create art. And human creativity is so vast that humans will never ever limit themselves and creating because stop creating, sorry, because that's part of being human, part of our communication, part of, as a beginning, part of our communication, part of the way that we're telling stories and giving ideas to each other. And so, yeah, that's one thought. My second thought is like, what does the production of AI mean? Production of art using AI mean for real artists? There's a few different thoughts that I have here. I do think in the future, there are going to be spaces in the world, that are technology free. Just like cars exist and we still have places for horses, stables, racetracks, separate places for people to ride their horses. We're going to have separate areas of the world where people are able to just go there and have a technology free experience where they're able to just think through their problems or have a real conversation or do all of these things. So they might be, AI free zones or technology free zones. I do think that this will be a class distinction. So a lot of the working class, I think, will be using AI technologies, and a lot of the higher class, just as horse riding and stuff is now, they will have them pure technology free parties and technology free places. Yeah, okay. That's one thought again. I know I've been saying a lot. This is the problem without having notes. I'm just rambling. But this is a test video, me sitting on the floor speaking to the camera with my real thoughts. Yeah, so back to the topic. So I've been writing, and generally I write by typing. I write by typing. A lot of my poems in here are typed up, and that's how I've been writing forever. However, in light of AI, I think what is going to happen is that we're going to fall back into the idea of handwriting things. Um, there's not much in here that I can show you. It's just a notebook that I put my to-do list in. Um, but yeah, so I think handwritten things will be more valuable in the future, precisely because AI is producing everything in a digital format. And secondly, I think what AI can produce is amazing stories, amazing ideas. It can put a lot of things together, but what it cannot do is live a life. AI cannot live a life, and it cannot tell you about the life that is lived. So I think autobiographical writing will be our new future. A lot of people are going to be looking for authentic human stories. That's what they want, authentic human stories, stories told about a person through their emotion, through their feelings, and yeah, giving us a piece of themselves, and which is something, as I said, AI cannot do. That's my thoughts, and I think I've said a lot there, even though I have a lot more to say. I have a lot more to say. But this is just a test video. This is the first of many, hopefully. And I really like this simple idea of me just speaking to the camera. Sat on the floor, not even sat on the sofa. But I am sincere intentions. Thank you for listening so far. And please come back to the channel soon, because I'm sure I will produce many more videos. Thank you.